What's happening to me? Well, hello there everybody, I'm Photo Dave, that's my boring background, this is Toypixx, and in this video, what is wrong with me? Why am I considering picking up the Turtles of Grayskull? Now remember, in the corner is a QR code you can scan for your free action figure photography guide, as well as get signed up for the Toypixx newsletter, and stick around till the end of the video for today's Toypixx photo, as well as today's Patreon freebie. Just like everything else I put on Patreon, it's free, hence freebie. And remember that any QR codes I put up in this video will also have links in the video description for people that don't dig QR codes. I guess that's it. So, without further ado, what's going on with me and this whole Turtles of Grayskull thing? Ladies and gentlemen, I pride myself on being the pickiest collector on YouTube. Yes, friends, that's a title that I hold proudly. And it's not because I'm some kind of figure snob, though that is part of it, but it's because I want to spend my money wisely on stuff that I know that I'll want to keep for a long time. And for me, that means great articulation. That means extra hands and extra heads for all kinds of expressive posing, which is key for action figure photography. Weapons that come with them that make sense, all that stuff. That's what it means to me to be the ultra picky guy, is I want stuff that I know I'm going to be able to just grab off a shelf, put in front of a camera, and be stoked to shoot. That said, I'm looking at these Turtles of Grayskull right now, and I'm thinking, holy jeez, these don't come with extra heads. These don't come with extra hands. They actually have waist cuts, and if you've been watching me for a while, you know I abhor a waist cut. Oh, they're disgusting. They're gross. They're like Robo with flocking. But anyway, I'm looking at these things and I'm just thinking the imagination that went into these, the color that went into them, the sheer insanity that went into these figures, despite the fact that they don't have all those things that I would normally need in order to decide to pick up an action figure, has me perplexed, because I'm looking at them and I kind of want them. The last time this happened, I was watching a Whoosh interview with Trevor Zammit where Veebs was talking to him, and Trevor was talking about the Universal Monsters TMNT crossover. And he was saying how cool it was because most of the time when they work on any other property, they have to just stick true to what came before. Stick to the property. You know, you're doing movie Turtles, make sure the figure looks like what was on screen, that kind of thing. But with the Universal Monsters TMNT mashup, they got to really use their imaginations. And I'm kind of a creative guy, that's a lot of what I do. And so that hit me, where I started thinking about things a lot differently. Like, how much would it suck to have to work on a line where you never get to use your imagination, you're just kind of going through the motions? But with that Universal Monsters TMNT line, Trevor was talking about, nah man, we get to be really creative, and he said there's challenges with it for sure, but it's just a different kind of way to flex our creative muscle. And I just thought, man, that's really cool. And then recently I've been paying attention to these things, which they're also really cool. And think about the imagination that went into coming up with them. This crazy little TMNT MOTU mashup. And I'm a fan of the Turtles. And I grew up with Masters of the Universe and I had a lot of the stuff, but for whatever reason, it didn't stick with me as far as nostalgia is concerned. Maybe because I've never really been a sword and sorcery guy, but I've always been a wacky little Turtles guy. And so I'm looking at this just going, man, what do I do? But the way they put them all together, the way they structured all of them, the way that their brains, that they got to use their imagination to put them together, you can see there's a lot of creativity flowing with these figures. NECA's Universal Monsters Turtles don't have great articulation. They have the other things, but their articulation's abysmal. But guess what? I'm still gonna end up with them, because I just think they're that cool, and I love the idea of the imaginations being used to come up with that insanity that they've got going on there. And just like that Universal Monsters TMNT mashup, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, yep, there's a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity that went into this, and overall, when I look at them, I really like what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff where imagination goes into it, where I look at it and just go, I mean, that's okay, but I really like what they've come up with these figures. So yeah, it's not really a crossroads. I think I'm gonna need them, but rather than go through all of the figures individually, we've all seen them, we've all checked them out. I'm recording this video at least a day late. I'm gonna talk about if I could only get 3, which 3 would I end up with? And yeah, it's based strictly on how awesome these things look. Okay, let's start this out with the obvious pick that I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, and that is Sla'Ker. I'm going with Sla'Ker because it's an obvious combination of Slash and Faker, and I like the image that calling it Sla'Ker conjures up. I have Chester Cheetah on pre-order, and what I can see right now is needing to pick up a couch, pick up a little TV, like a 1/12 scale couch, 1/12 scale TV, 1/12 scale video gaming system, and having Sla'Ker just hanging out in a basement somewhere with Chester Cheetah, and they're just sitting there playing video games. It just strikes me funny. The visual itself is enough to make me think, I need this guy. But not only that, the figure is also just super crazy, super colorful, and I had Slash when I was a kid, and I really liked Slash. Didn't care so much for Faker. I had him too. I might have been spoiled. I don't know. Maybe. But I just like this mashup, and I see more Slash here than Faker, which probably makes it so that I want it a little more. And since I've been talking through Sla'Ker here, I'm gonna start looking up couches and TVs and game consoles, because I kinda can't get that image out of my head now. If I could only get 3 Turtles of Grayskull figures, the next one I would choose would be the on-the-nose Ram Man. Yes, friends, they went with the obvious choice with Ram Man, and I love every inch of that thing. Look at this beautiful dang it, I keep forgetting that kids might be watching and everything else, so I pause, and then I fix it. Hey, kids! But anyway, this Ram Man is ridiculous. I love the translucent plastic, and I know translucent plastic, it doesn't have the best reputation because overall it's pretty brittle, it tends to snap. Hopefully it doesn't happen with these, because I really like the look of this thing. Somebody pointed out it's even got the earring and its ear up there. I think that's a sweet touch. I love how just crazed he looks. This Ram Man is just, it's hilarious. It's a perfect redesign of this thing, getting hit with some mutagen, turning Ram Man all twisted and evil. I do wonder what the story is going to be like because of figures like Ram Man here. Is it going to be that somehow the Turtles jumped into the Masters of the Universe timeline, or vice versa, and things got mutated and heroes turned to villains, except maybe Man-at-Arms, and Beastman's wearing samurai armor, which is just insane. This whole line has my imagination firing like mad, and it's mostly because of figures like Ram Man here. Now, if I could only pick 3 Turtles of Grayskull figures, and this list isn't in order by any means, but well, I guess this would be the 3rd one, I would pick Moss Man. Look at this thing. It is insane how they've merged a Venus flytrap with translucent green plastic and just an angry looking Moss Man to come up with something truly crazy. Like, whoever's brain conjured up this mix, I applaud you. This is just fantastic. I love just looking at these pictures. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to add to this conversation that others haven't already said, except to say I'm just this really crazy picky dude. And when I'm talking picky, you know my criteria, and yet I'm looking at these thinking, yeah, I could see holding on to these for quite a while, putting them in front of the camera, shooting, just getting crazy colors going on, maybe some kind of multiverse mix, maybe like just a weekly wacky something, maybe Wacky Wednesdays, except then what would I do with Wolverine? Wolverine's the greatest. Oh man, I don't know. I just know that looking at these things, I'm at a loss. I am at a loss for words because I don't know. Yeah, they do not fit my criteria at all, and I am crazy stoked about them. So there you go, gang. Those are my thoughts on this new Turtles of Grayskull line. I kind of need them. So do me a solid and comment below and let me know what you're thinking of it. Are you going to pick up the whole line? Are you just going to pick and choose? What are your favorite characters? Are you watching this right now and saying, oh, Dave, I thought you were pickier than this? Or maybe you're thinking, no way would I ever go near this. Let it all ride. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And now, on to today's Toypixx photo. Everybody pretend to be stunned that on Wolverine Wednesday, today's Toypixx photo is a photo of the old Knucklehead himself. Yes, friends, we have my favorite Wolverine in my collection, the Medicom Moffex brown suit number 138 Wolverine. Now, I don't usually do close-up images, and I thought, let's do close-up on Wolverine, and then I'm usually fairly saturated, and I thought, let's desaturate Wolverine, and I even put a gray layer that I lightened. I used a layer style to lighten it over the thing so that the black wasn't so black. Now it's more gray, like I played a little with this, just to make it something that I don't normally shoot, but the point of any shot I put on these videos is see that QR code? Scan it. That'll take you to the X/Twitter so you can comment with your own photos of the old Knucklehead, and I want to see them. I haven't been great about getting back to people in comments on anything lately. Time has been a pain, but I'm going to make that a priority in the next couple days. So, comment, let me see them. I will comment on your photo because I really do enjoy checking these things out. And now, on to today's Patreon freebie. Today's Patreon freebie, which, let's be honest, is kind of redundant since everything I post on Patreon is free for everyone that goes to the page, is a little something different. I went with a cartoon background instead of more of a realistic background to create a gym. Yep, I like to exercise, I like to do the whole training thing, and I was thinking, hey, let's throw a gym in there, and I started thinking about what figures could work with this since it's cartoony. Obviously, any kind of Toon-specific lines would work, such as NECA's Toon TMNT line. I specifically see Raph and Casey Jones in here just doing their thing. There's also kind of just colorful figures, such as perhaps the Turtles of Grayskull, but you probably have Origins now, so maybe make that work. Or a lot of Super 7 stuff, like Pinky and the Brain. I keep thinking about them because I'm not a huge Super 7 guy. In fact, I don't have anything that's Super 7, but somehow I think those two just, I feel like Super 7 nailed it with those guys, so I'm constantly considering those. But, anywho, that QR code is there so you can scan it, head over to the Toypixx Patreon page, and download it if you want to use it for your action figure photography. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for this one. So as always, thanks a ton for taking the time to check out this video. It is always hugely appreciated. And until next time, have fun and happy snapping. Cowabunga. Yeah.